Hey kids, comics, silver-haired Bronze Age babe here, yakking about our comic book collection, and today we're in the She-Batmobile because it's new comic book day and I'm heading over to one of my local comic book shops to pick up, believe it or not, my pull list. This silver and Bronze Age collector actually is reading a couple of modern day books and actually enjoying it, so I'm on my way to pick those up. And also just to chat a little bit about the change in comic book shops that I've noticed in my lifetime. Back in the 1970s, when I started out in this hobby as a innocent little teenager, I went to a couple of comic book stores, and they were dark and dank and foreboding, and the guys who ran those places were dark and dank and foreboding, and it scared me off. Quite frankly, it just absolutely scared me off because everything about those places communicated to me that I was not welcome there and I should just leave. Thank you very much. So I had to find other ways to get into collecting, but boy, have times changed, and I couldn't be happier about it. So we're gonna drive over to one of my favorite comic book shops, take a look around the place. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk to the owner, and just have a little outing. Okay. So there it is. There's one of my local comic shops, Secret Crisis Comics. Don't you love how clever that is? And I don't have to explain that to any of you. So yeah, let's hear it for Secret Crisis. Let's go in and say hi. Okay. Hey, hello. I bring a camera. I bring my good cheer.
I like it.
And this is Melissa. This is who takes care of me every month when I've got my stuff in my pull list. So
It's true. Let's see what you got in there today.
let's see what I have. And while you're doing that, let's show the nice people the wall, which is always a great wall.
Helen of Windhorn and Wonder Woman.
That's it.
Perfect.
Them's the ones.
Oh, they don't have
Look
their-
at, I was going to say, it looks like every time I'm in here, it looks like people have picked you over on the wall.
Well, we have a customer who comes in. He loves the wall, and I just have to put up 2 new things. But we're just kind of picking what old comics we put up today. I feel like.
What do you, well, let's,
Well, okay, so this is.
okay,
this
let
is
me
the-
see what you got.
So we've got these are yours,
Those are
obviously.
mine.
Dark Mysteries. That's a fun one because I have never
Nice.
seen it.
Nice.
Oh.
Oh, that's
Well,
cool.
I will get it off your pile.
No, don't worry about it.
World of Suspense.
Yeah.
I like it. And then, ooh, Captain
Science.
Science. That's actually a pretty cool cover.
Science.
It's science. And then Mysteries in Space. I think you have to say it with a voice, though.
Mystery in space, space.
Exactly.
You know, I would go with that one just because it
This
has that
is
that
nice.
stamp, that store stamp on it, and some collectors really love it.
I did not
So
know
that's, and I think you've got a lot of yellow up here anyway. So
Right.
go with purple.
that. Go with an analogous color.
Exactly.
Let's see, where's mine?
So, hello.
And then, let's see here. Let's put the back of 6 bucks a
So yes.
Apparently, it'll be depressing Madonna.
First of all, this is from a league of their own, and it's an amazing song.
I
Okay,
understand,
okay.
sir.
Just say yes.
He loves League of Their Own.
There's the owner. Hi, Todd. It's good to see you.
Good seeing you. How are you doing?
Silver-haired Bronze Age babe.
Excellent seeing you again.
Nice to see you too. Do you have a time to answer a couple probing questions, or are you out the door? Okay.
Absolutely. No, I'm just walking in. I downloaded my car. My apologies. I was supposed to be here about 6 minutes ago.
Don't worry about it. I think I'm a tad early. So
No problems.
I have to show my people what a lovely, nice, bright comic book store actually looks like. Because when I started collecting when I was 16, I drove myself to a comic book store, which was awful. They were dark. They were miserable.
What city were you in?
I went to Dave's Comics in Royal Oak.
Okay.
Do you remember Dave?
Yeah, I actually did Dave's upstairs in Ann Arbor. And even before that, I was a fan of Ayagimoto. But if you want to talk dark, again, I loved Ayagimoto, but that was a closet.
Yes.
It was a dark, dank closet, but the owner was just an amazing gentleman who, as a kid, treated me very kindly.
Well, I'm glad that happened to you. It didn't happen to me because the staff in Royal Oak couldn't wait to get me out of there.
That was Dave's in Ann Arbor. I feel bad saying that.
No, it was
But-
it was in Royal Oak. I was miserable. It scared me away.
They basically second guessed because I was a kid.
Yeah.
Anything I bought was, why are you reading this?
Yes.
It was just very condescending.
Yeah.
And it's basically what I established we would never do. Like, we don't comment on your books because you know what? It's subjective.
Well, tell me more about why. Now, you used to practice law.
Yeah.
How did you get into this?
Well, this has been a passion since I was a little kid.
Okay.
And I was practicing law in Massachusetts, but when we moved back to Michigan, I was going to kind of have to start over.
Yeah.
And my wife said, well, it's kind of a perfect time in your life if you're going to do a shop like this.
Uh-huh.
It's either now or never.
Now or never.
Because
Yep.
once I got into law, I would have invested so much time and money, I could never have gotten back out of it.
Yeah.
And I would have rather done that with a passion. So the comic shop came in.
Well, and you clearly have paid attention to, like, you spent time in dark closets before because this is the antithesis of this. It's bright, it's open, it's cheery,
And
it's
some
happy.
people don't. I mean, I read online and they're like, "Oh, I like more of a clubhouse atmosphere," but I want more of like a welcoming atmosphere. In fact, I mean, I like the fact that some people are comfortable. They come in just to talk and chat, but I don't want people from the outside to feel, "Oh, well, that's we're not members or something."
You don't want that guy who's standing by the counter who you don't know if he works here or he doesn't. And
Yeah, or the person behind the counter who doesn't acknowledge you because he's still talking to that guy after a half hour.
Exactly.
Sorry, another bad experience.
Yes, exactly.
So,
well,
yeah.
Based on my conversations with the nice folks I've met because of my YouTube channel, we are not alone in that. And I thought I was the only one.
No, I thought
I was the only one.
I think it's a loud minority in that case. Like, it's just we all grew up with that, and we thought that was the norm, but in reality, it's the way they did it. But it's not the norm. No, I don't think it's what people want. I mean, I hope not. I mean, because my business model is to be more open to, like, if you're not a comic fan, come on in. But if you are a comic fan, awesome, because we can talk back long history of comics.
Right. Well, and I noticed there's all the comic shops now have games and toys and all sorts of
You have to
other
diversify.
stuff.
Yeah, it's just
is that the
that's
key to success here?
Well, it's the part of the comic shop you don't think about. It's the business aspect. Is you have to diversify. Like, if you are totally dependent on one thing, anything like magic, comics, board games, I don't think that's a great business model.
Right.
So we kind of spread it out. But the thing about the board games is that's my second passion.
Oh, no kidding.
I
Okay,
love board gaming.
great.
Yeah. So this isn't like we didn't throw this in willy nilly. Like, the games are curated. Like, I check the channels to see what's the highest rated, the hot games. So we try to curate a good collection.
Yeah.
Because we don't have the space to buy one of everything.
Right.
Because we are, unfortunately, I love the shop, but we are very small. And I accept it and I love it. So
yeah, well, there's got to be some benefits to having a small shop, and are you really pretty close to the clientele?
we're close to the clients. And the other thing that's kind of cool is, like, if something really hot comes out, we're overlooked. So, like, 2 days after release, we might still have that. Like, it was a couple weeks ago, the Doom #1 that everyone was going after.
Oh, no kidding, smart.
We actually had that for 2 full days on the shelf before it got sold out, and people came to us.
Wow.
Same thing happened with Batman Damned #1 with that image of Batman. We had 12 copies on our shelf and it was going for $50 still. Like, we just have it.
Wow.
And so sometimes we luck out in that we are overlooked. Ultimate Spider-Man #1, we didn't sell out on the first day. I mean, we sold out second day, but still, most stores sold out like we're pre-sold out.
So if one of my friends, say in, I don't know, Kentucky, can't find something, can he call you up and say, hey, do you have it? Or
He can
you
call,
don't
but
do a mail order? Tough.
We try not to, because our staff is small, and between weighing, packing, because we would pack very safe because we don't want anything damaged.
Yeah.
Between weighing, packing, doing that, we don't have the staff.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, because right now we need 5 people, but we can only afford 3. So.
Absolutely. Totally understand.
Yeah.
Totally understand. So tell me about the new stuff. What is moving these days? What books are popular, and what do you see going forward?
One of the surprises we had was Space Ghost.
Oh, really?
Because I'm in this weird group that didn't know Space Ghost from Hanna-Barbera. I knew it from Cartoon Network when it was hosting Coast to Coast. Well, this is going back to the Hanna-Barbera days as him as a hero. So I was worried about it because I didn't know if I could take him as a hero, not as the talk show host and having Zorak as the band leader. But I read the first issue and I actually loved it. And it's also not one of the big three publishers, so it's kind of cool to have a book
Yes.
like someone else. It's not really independent because I believe it's Dynamite and they produce a lot.
Yeah.
But that was Space Ghost has been a pleasant surprise. Transformers has been a really surprise. Like,
Wow.
it's kind of what my 10-year-old self kind of wanted Transformers to be, but it's so this veers away from like being cartoony, and
Yeah.
it's kind of more of a real world interpretation. I mean, there's a high level of violence though, because that's what would happen when giant killer robots come to your planet.
Right.
So that's been enjoyable.
As they do.
Yeah. Marvel's Blood Hunt was a surprise. I'm not a vampire person and stuff. I'm enjoying it.
Okay.
I felt the same way with DC's versus Vampires. I'm not a vampire person, but those were good books. The other thing we're excited about, though, is DC's going back heavy into Elseworlds this summer.
Okay.
So we're going to have Gotham by Gaslight, Kryptonian Age. They're going back to DC versus Vampires, and then they're also doing Knights of Steel, like a second chapter to that, which was also a really wonderful title from 2022.
Can I tell you, last time I was here, one of your tremendous staff, I said, "Hey, what's new? What's interesting in the the facsimile?" He handed me the Batman the Gaslight.
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yes.
I loved
Yeah.
it.
And I actually
loved
missed it the first time around. I did
Yeah.
not pick that one up, so I picked up the facsimile, and now I'm doing the new series too.
Okay. So, well,
Yeah.
my pull list is.
I know.
That's okay, though. The fact that I'm actually reading any, in my case, a modern comic is anything past 1979. So
Yeah, because I mean,
but
with
there's some really good stuff out.
there's some really amazing stuff out now. I mean, granted, some of it you get frustrated because someone will get like an IP, and then basically like, oh, it's this huge movie franchise. We're gonna throw rookies on it, and I'm not
Yeah.
trying to belittle because I know writing and drawing is not
Right.
easy, but sometimes you just want it to be a little more. Not even I don't even say established, just better writer.
Yeah.
I mean, I know
Right.
that sounds very condescending, and I apologize. But it's the truth. But again, it's subjective, I guess. But based on sales, I think it's some of these titles are like. Oh.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a pretty sophisticated audience these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
the expectations
so
are
the
high.
expectation is very high that you've got a little bit of and you're competing against television and movies and all sorts of
Oh,
stuff,
right.
so you have to step up your game.
Yeah. And sometimes they just don't on a good series. Like I was sad. Like I'm a huge She-Hulk fan. I just read yesterday She-Hulk number 10 is the last issue of this run.
Oh, okay.
But Marvel has a huge habit on She-Hulk. This is probably the 8th volume.
Okay.
So they basically go to about 10 or 12 issues and retool.
Yeah.
So it's getting. I mean, I like continuity, but just having one long continuous title, because going back and saying, you cancel Fantastic Four at 500, oh, we're restarting at 1, and then restarting the numbering at 800 because you're going to hit an anniversary. Not a fan of that.
Yeah, not a fan.
Yeah.
So back when you were a youngster starting out with collecting comics,
Yes.
what were your go-to titles? What did you collect?
I was so average. I mean, it was Avengers, X-Men, and I started collecting at the sweetest spot. Secret Wars 3 had just dropped, and I still remember we were at Metro Airport and dropped my brother off to go on spring break or something, and they had Secret Wars 3 in the little spinner, and it blew my mind because I didn't know you could have all the heroes together.
Together.
It was just so cool because, again, for not a sophisticated reader, but just a kid who just wanted fun and adventure, blew my socks off. And Avengers were really cool at that time. X-Men, DC. Didn't like DC a lot, and then when I got a few years older, into my early teens, Dark Knight and Watchmen dropped within a year, and I was actually buying off the shelf when those came out. So that opened my eyes to like what comics could be.
Yes.
And that's why, I mean, people sometimes wonder, like, why is Watchmen, I read the book now, it seems a little dated with the presidency and the Russians. Well, that's not dated anymore.
I think it still holds up.
But,
and
yes,
I mean,
know.
they teach that in universities now, so it's like,
Well, it's just, it was the first real world interpretation I ever read of heroes, like what would happen.
Yeah.
And because the thing is, I never read Miracle Man I don't remember, Marvel Man in UK, Miracle Man in the US. That was actually another really dark interpretation of heroes, and is an amazing read, but because of the copyright problems, it's almost impossible to find any kind of trades or issues of it.
Yeah.
But it was an amazing read too, but I didn't read that at the time. That took like 20 years to find.
Yeah. Well, I am glad you found that at the airport, because it spawned a terrific new business for you, and I have to, I commend your folks all the time. I love coming in. It used to just scare the bejesus out of me that, I have to go to a comic book store. But they're different, and you guys are different. And So thank you
I can't tell you
for
this-
very much for
and
everything.
it's what we try. I mean, because in a way, this is the place you go. The world kind of sucks. I'm sorry, I don't.
Yes.
And I hate to even use that
It's
word
a little tough.
because it is the weakest word you can use, but it's the most generic term I can think of right now without getting into profanity. And this is, I'm going to trigger someone, but this is a safe space. Like, you want to come in here and not talk religion, don't talk politics, just come in, follow your passions, buy your board game, buy your comic, play Magic here. This is a spot where you can just forget the world for that 1 hour or 2 hours.
I have found that for me personally, there's part of my collecting has always been, in the last 10 to 15 years, is like creating the collection the 14-year-old me always wanted, right?
Yeah.
What I've noticed in the last few years is that, to your point, I find it very calming. It's very relaxing. It's not just about, oh, I'm pretending I'm in my room when I'm 12, but
No,
it's like, no,
it's
this
just-
is
it centers
this
you.
is a great, it's comic books. It's a wonderful thing to like.
Yeah,
These are
it's-
fun things to like.
And honestly, I mean, I know other countries do it, but in a way, this is our American mythology too, because we're a new country.
Totally.
We don't have a mythology. We don't have Greek heroes. We don't have, like, in France, we don't like even like a Joan of Arc. I know we have like the people of 1776, but these are our, I don't want to say gods, but
Right.
this is our super people. Like they've
Right.
had all through history, and this is why it's also so cool because other countries have it and stuff, but it just feel it. This is I maybe I'm co-opting it from the rest of the world, but I feel comics and these heroes are our mythology,
Yep.
and I love it.
And if we ever needed them, it's now.
Yeah. It's just the
Great.
escapism's wonderful, and I think during COVID they helped.
Oh,
Because
sure.
at home, you know what, you can live through these adventures and stuff, and we were only closed down for like 5 days because we were
Oh,
able
no
to go
kidding.
we were able to go curbside really
Great.
quick by
Good
law.
for you. Yeah.
And at that point, we were contacting people. We would let people know we would do an outside drop for them.
Yeah.
So we help. I mean, this is me patting myself, but I like to think that we helped people during that time when you're shut at
totally
home.
did.
Again,
Totally.
this is about escapism. I'm not going to deny it. I mean, yeah, there's social commentary in here,
Yeah.
but the 90% of this business is to escape like the everyday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you've got a great spot, and
Thank you, so
I
that-
can, the passion that you have for it is demonstrated in everything about this store, so I really appreciate it.
I'm glad it shows, but also our staff's amazing too right now. They have been knocking out for about a year. It's just been unreal, these
Yeah.
two, and they make
You know,
it so much
Melissa
easier.
takes care of me, right? She goes.
Oh.
She's out. She found a Lois Lane on the cover book that she thought, I wonder if Sarah has that, and she just got it.
Her
And so,
memory
like,
on these things, like that's what's amazing about her. Like it is actually when you're working register after a while, though, you actually start like making almost a file in your head, like this person likes this,
Right.
This person likes this, and after a while, and this is gonna sound bad. We have a lot of customers. I'm bad with names, but the odds are I'll remember a weird detail about your life, and I'll remember what you read.
Right.
I might not remember your name, and it's not trying to be disrespectful.
Oh, there's the Lois Lane lady.
There's Lois Lane lady who went to Dave. I'm never going to forget you went to Dave's in Royal Oak now because
Yes.
I ventured forth to Royal Oak too sometimes because there's some really cool record stores too at that time.
Yeah.
So, but Dave's, it was run like Dave's in Ann Arbor, and I feel bad because it is part of a lot of people's nostalgia, but I just had honestly had the same experience as you.
I hate to say it, but I'm so glad to hear you say that.
Again, it's one of those
I literally thought it was because I was a girl.
And I thought it was just because I was a kid.
Okay.
And I mean, our ages
Yeah.
aren't that different. In fact, it's probably the same. But it's just, I thought it was because I was not a college student.
Right.
Because the guys working there were clearly, U of M students at the time, and man, they like to belittle people in there.
They sure did. Well,
Yeah.
not here at Secret Crisis, which, by the way, has the cleverest store name I have ever heard, and I'm not describing it on this little video because everyone who watches this understands it.
No, that's one of my great joys is when someone's like, "Oh, that's awesome."
That
I'm like,
is clever.
Yeah.
Listen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And,
I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate you visiting us. Even when you're not
month,
filming.
man.
I love
Every
it.
month. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
There you have it. There's Secret Crisis. There is my local comic book shop, and you can probably see why I like it so much. And I actually didn't get out of there without doing more than my pull list. So another addition to the Lois Lane on the cover. Nice. And then I also got the latest Helen of Windhorn. Beautiful series. And I got the new Wonder Woman. terrific series, really liking it, and a book that I've never read and should probably be in the Superman collection forever, so that's good. But so there you have it, a very successful visit to New Comic Book Day at my local comic book shop. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'll see you next time.